G'day, thanks for joining me today. What we'll be doing is looking at macros and how they can make your life easier. And there's quite a few tips and tricks in making that happen rather than end up down a rabbit hole because they can be a little complex. If you like what I'm doing with these videos, please subscribe and perhaps leave a comment below of what you'd like to see next. Thanks. Now let's show you the equipment that I've got here today. And over here is my Canon 80D, which is focusing down on the ATEM, which you can see here. I'll select picture in a picture, and there I am up in the top left hand side. Fairly standard sort of picture in a picture you'd see when you're using the given buttons. So let's go to the actual software and the switcher panel and how to find macros and how to create them. Top left hand side, macros, and this comes up with a macro window here. We also need to go to palettes, and this is where we modify the picture in a picture under the DVE. I'm going to use a macro I've created earlier to do a split screen, so let's do that. And here we go, split screen. I'm a lot larger, you can see me, you can see my hands and see much more expression. And also on the screen you can see I've used that split screen macro to achieve that. You need to be in run and recall and run. So all you need to do is then click the button and it runs the macro. For my next section of this video I've added this macro, so I'll select that and I've made my window a little smaller. I'll now switch to some stills that I've prepared earlier to explain what a macro is, using an analogy of a map or a set of instruction how to get somewhere. So let's say you've arrived in New York, you're staying at a hotel, you want to go to B&H and buy a new camera, as don't we all. So you're not sure how to get there, you ask the doorman and he gives you a set of instructions. Fairly simple. Go out the door, turn right at the first intersection, turn left at the next intersection, and it's about 50 meters on your left. Fantastic. So you take those instructions and off you go. There you are. So you've bought two cameras, not just the one. Later that night you see a friend of yours and he wants to find B&H as well. So you give him the note, the set of instructions for him to find it. Now he was staying just around the corner. You didn't think it mattered that much. So he takes those, and the next day he goes and tries those same set of instructions which successfully got you to where you wanted to go, but he ends up in a completely different place. And that's because you've started at a different spot. And that's exactly the same with macros. If you don't start exactly where you want to be in terms of where the ATEM and how the ATEM is set up, you could end up with some very strange things happening. And I'm sure once you start playing with macros, you'll get to see what I mean. Now let's create a macro of our own. To find macros, I'll just turn picture in a picture off. We head up to top left, macros, run a macro. So we'll run and recall, split screen as I did before, and we'll make that a little smaller. Now one of the easiest ways to create a macro is get all your settings what you want them to be, then hit create, and then just go back and tweak them back and forth so it creates an on state for all those states that you want it to be. So let's do that now. So the first thing, we're over in the DVE panel here. We want to use the fill source and we want to make that as the close-up, which is the camera next to me. What we can do is up here we can reset DVE, so that resets the position and makes this 50 here 50%. But what we want to do is make that 1.5, and I'll turn the picture in a picture on so you can actually see that. So we'll click that to 1.5 and it's zoomed in, so that's good. What we shall do is move it across and we'll move it down. So that's about what we want to do. We'll also crop in from the right a little bit, and we'll make that say 13, so we can see the macro window here, all the settings over here. We don't need a crop on the left, so we'll just make that 0, and we'll keep the border. And we want to have this computer in the background. So that looks good. We could have been recording all those events as we click them, or what we could also do is click Create Now, create a new one. So that will be, we'll call that Ninja Close-Up. Okay, so we'll start recording. Effectively, we've got everything where we want it to be. So we just go and basically change the settings from what they are back to what they are. So we take it to say main, and then we'll take it to close up. We just tweak, so we go down, up, down, up, down, up. So we're moving it away from what it was, but back to what it was. And here we've there. We want that 0. We want no shadow. We do want a border, so what we need to do is just turn it off and turn it on again. So that's all good for the panel and the look of the window. What we do need to do is make sure that the window comes on, because that's what we want it to do. So we'll just turn it off and on. We can click Finish now, and we've got Ninja Close-Up macro created. We need to run, recall. Now there's no point pressing that at the moment because it's what we want. So let's take it away from what we want. We'll turn picture-in-a-picture down to the small. We'll take the mask off it. We'll take the border off it. We can reset the background camera, so we'll turn it on to there. We'll do a split screen. Okay, well, we've got what we want. In fact, we'll change the background layer to something different. What I'm about to do is click the Ninja Close-Up macro button. So let's see what happens. And great, that's exactly what we wanted. I'm going to use another macro to put me back in the picture. I'll have to click the main, and so what I did do there, click the Ninja Close-Up. That worked really well. We didn't have any artifacts left from any previous ones, because what we did, we've gone to the end of how we wanted that macro to look when we clicked it, and then we've just made sure all the states that created that macro were there. So we've taken everything, turned it off and on, and that will set all those settings as we want. So that's worked out really well. What I might do is just show you some code. To save that macro, we can do File, do a Save As, move that down. We'll call this macro number 5, because I've been playing around a little bit with macros today. We'll save, we select None, we select Macros, we save, and that's saved. So we'll open number 5, is that what we were looking at. And basically these are the macros here. The Ninja Close-Up, this is all the code that that creates that macro that we've just done. These are a couple of the other macros that I did, and when I created this particular one, which is called Split Screen, it didn't have this extra crop in here. So what I could do, so I only have to use one macro instead of 2, is add a line in there, copy this out. I'm using my keyboard to do this, so copy that and paste it in just in here. I'll make it look a little neater, and then we'll save that, File, Save, and we'll go back to close the macros, we'll restore 5, which is what we just recorded, and that shows only macros, and open macros again. And this split screen, what should happen is it should get us to the state we are at the moment. So why don't I just put myself up there. Before, when I did the split screen, I had to add the add crop here. So let's hit the split screen, and there we go. By adding those lines of code in from this macro, it eliminated me needing this macro at all. So good luck with that. It's quite a complex task, and I'm sure that you'll have some fun trying and make some mistakes, as we all do, but you'll get there in the end. So thanks for that. And again, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much.